Well, hello there, St. Luke's. Good to be back with you all for this midweek message. This is September 5th, Thursday morning, coming to you, recorded from the office. But I have I've been reflecting a little bit on this past Sunday's reading from the letter to the Ephesians, Paul's letter to the Ephesians. We had a wonderful sermon commended to you by Father Jacob. You can go on YouTube on this channel and watch it if you'd like. But one of the admonitions that Paul gave his church in Ephesians was to stand firm, that you would be equipped through the armor of God to be able to stand firm in this present darkness. And I've been reflecting on this. If you came to the service yesterday, you would have heard a brief homily on this, which was not recorded, but at any rate, and this admonition, this promise, this charge to stand firm, as I said yesterday, was just as difficult, if not seeming daunting, as it then as now. And yet, the promise that God, by the power of His Spirit, would in fact empower His people has then as now been maintained. You know, God does not lie. His yes has been yes. And so I've been reflecting on that because I'm always drawn back to Jesus' promise in his teaching of his disciples in John 14, where he is talking about all the various things, the trials that they would face, and that he was about to leave them, and they were obviously disquieted, he said. And in part of this, in John 14:25 in following, he says this: "All this I've spoken while still with you, but the Counselor, or the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I've said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, and do not be afraid." And I often think of that promise, and as promises are wont to do, as they are fulfilled, as people walk out their commitments, as people fulfill their promise, the profundity of these seemingly simple words becomes more and more weightier. And I think about that in my own life as I look back in my life and ministry, and this promise that Jesus said, by the power of the Spirit, that He would send His peace, not as the world knows, but that His peace, and that we would not be afraid. And I've seen that a marked reality not only in my own life, but by extension into the lives of those with whom I've had the joy of serving and ministering to for these 25 years now, and in fact even longer, as long as I have been self-consciously a Christian. I have seen the fruit of the Spirit in this respect, being the peace of God, which passes all understanding, as we say, has been a hallmark. Now, of course, there have been seasons in everyone's life where they are less peaceful than others, to be sure. But the persistent witness of the churches that I've had the joy of being in and serving now across the world, the persistent and consistent witness has been at precisely this point, that there has been a peace, an otherworldly peace, an otherworldly promised peace. And this is why, at the end of the service we say, "And now may the peace of God, which passes all understanding." We know that this is not something that makes sense. Jesus Himself said it would be something that the world did not understand or know. The peace of God, which passes all understanding, would keep your hearts and your minds in what? And then we reverse it, in the knowledge and love. That these two components of the human person, the head and the heart, that the peace of God that passes all understanding would keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of what? His Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so these three components, the knowledge of God, the love of God, and the peace of God which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of His Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so then we send you into the world to stand firm. That's what we send you to do. I mean, go back and look at the various epistles. All of the epistles, the letters in the back of or in the conclusion of the New Testament are written, the pastoral epistles by pastors to their congregation, Paul and Peter and James and Jude, and people writing to encourage them, to equip them, to admonish and exhort them. We see Jude talking about defending the faith once for all delivered to the saints. We see Peter in joining his congregation to to defend the hope that they have within them, yet with gentleness and humility. We see Paul, as we just heard, persuading the Ephesians to stand firm, in this present darkness, and so on and so forth. We see warnings against false teachers. We see doctrinal disputes adjudicated. We see all of the things that have been revealed to us that have given us sufficient understanding of how to comport ourselves in the world as Christians who will evince a peace that is otherworldly and yet by God's grace attractive to the disquieted, to the peaceless people. We are to be those who walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fearing no evil, and we in fact do that. That's what's so great about it, is that these can be hypotheticals in the beginning, like the sort of the hope for realization of promises. Well, you look back over a life long lived in faith and fear of the Lord, and you see that His steadfast love has remained. His peace has in fact obtained purchase in your life, and His promised comfort by the power of His Spirit sustains you. And I don't have to tell you this. You wouldn't be watching this if you hadn't had some experience, or maybe you would. Maybe you're watching for some research purposes. I don't know. In which case, please reach out and we can talk further. But I'm assuming most of you are watching this because there has been some truth in this in your life, that as when all the other realities of life have failed or have been brushed away, that God's promise in Christ for you has remained. And that's that's what we stand upon. That's what we confess, and that's what we preach and believe and are grown in and are fed by, and all the various things as we walk this relatively short amount of time as we head to glory and eternity with our Lord as we see Him face to face. So that's my little BLT for the morning. But I thought about all this because I'm looking ahead to the fall and looking ahead over this next year and our time together for as long as the Lord has us here, and I see a pattern, not only as I've established in my own life in the past, but one that we are continuing to establish here, which is the admonition Jesus gives Peter upon his resurrection on the shore of Galilee to feed his sheep. Because as you know well, as we are fed and we are strengthened, we are encouraged, we are nurtured, we are growing, then that can't help but translate into a more confident stand, a more persistent defense of the hope, a more contentious and passionate defense of the faith. These are all just fruits, natural fruits of healthy, growing, well-fed sheep, as it were. And so that's what we're doing. And so I want to just encourage you. I'm going to try to link. I've been listening to a series of apologetic lectures, and all that simply means, I like the way apologetics is from the apologia, from the Greek, meaning defense. It's how we get our the old way of using defense, to make an apology for something. But I think a better way to say it would be persuasive evangelism. This is in this lecture. I thought that was a good word. So we are going to be training you and continuing to equip you to be persuasive evangelists. That doesn't mean annoying or even argumentative or brittle or shrill or any of these negative connotations. It will be lovingly, peacefully, confidently, persuasively preaching to the lost, the needy, the hurting, the disquieted, those who are not who do not go in peace to love and serve the Lord, who have had do not know the love of God or the peace of God, and we are going to use you, or watch the Lord use you in the lives of those people. So to that end, I'm breaking in to this incredible midweek message with an announcement that you need to sign up today if you are want to go shooting with the BMOC. If you're a man that wants to go shooting, you need to sign up today. We will be leaving here around 2:30 next Monday, September 9th, going to Operation Patriots Point to do some skeet shooting. We're going to have Hog Heaven again is giving us is providing food. We're going to hear a wonderful testimony by our own John Wigington, and it'll be a wonderful event. So we have a good number going already, but we can handle some more. So this is your message today. Please sign up for the BMOC today if you would like to go, so that we know how many to prepare for. Okay, back to the midweek. I want to just invite you to any and all of the various offerings we have. You can come this Sunday, September 8th, this Sunday after the 10:30 service. That's when the event takes place. We're going to have, it's being catered by our wonderful Hog Heaven Barbecue guys. And please come and see all the various opportunities you can get involved in, because as you participate with your life, so you are also fed through the service, loving service to the Lord, and He has promised to further grow you in these lives of self-sacrifice, as well as time, talent, and treasure. We'll be talking more about that over the next couple of months. But that's this Sunday. But also, you have an opportunity to sign up for the Bible studies. We're going to be reading Genesis this fall, and that begins on September 18th, I believe, Wednesday night. So we need you to sign up for that and bring a friend. We can provide a Bible. You don't have to have no previous knowledge of the Bible will be necessary, but this will give you a theological and biblical grounding for all that unfolds. Because, as I say, if you get Genesis wrong, particularly the first 18 chapters, if you're confused by, or if you have some sort of hiccups, mental hiccup over the meaning, purpose, and reality, or what God is revealing for our edification in those chapters, well, then you're going to have trouble making sense, really, of the rest of the Bible. And so that's our promise to you. We are hoping to demystify, to help educate and equip you to be edified by God's word as is intended. And so please consider joining us. The dinner is not necessary. You can come at 6:30, and you will be gone at 7:30. The dinner starts at 5:30, but we will start. 6 o'clock is the lecture. We will have you out by 7:30. That is our promise on the dot. That's our hope. I shouldn't say a promise, because I can't really. That may not be the case in some outlying instances. Okay, and also we are having Alpha. We're grateful for sign-ups. We have a good number, but we can use some more. Alpha Marriage on Monday nights and Alpha Youth. And so if you want any more information about these things, please contact us. But suffice it to say, what we are committed to is helping you, equipping you, feeding you, and watching the Lord strengthen you, so that, as is promised, when the winds come, when the news cycle continues to astound with the wars and rumors of wars, when you face your own challenges, physical, emotional, relational, whatever they may be, that you have not been promised that you would be taken out of those, but that the peace of God, which passes understanding, would at least be present with you. It doesn't mean you won't feel, doesn't mean you won't mourn, doesn't mean you won't even shudder at times. But, the absence of courage is not the absence of fear, but it's a confidence in the face of fear. And that's what we have been given by God's grace through His Spirit on account of His Son's death and resurrection for you, to be His lights, His hands, His feet, and His witnesses in this world, and to, having done all, as Paul says, to stand firm. Okay, well, that's my little BLT. Blessings to you all. Hope to see many of you this Sunday. Until then, take care and God bless.